Okay, folks, so welcome to week 2. We're resetting our running bodies for the autumn season. So some of you might have big races, some of you may be returning after a break, some of you might be coping with injuries, so there's going to be a range of things for this body, running body reset to kind of manage, cope with and support. So we're going to be floor-based again, largely this week, so we're going to start on all fours, and then we'll be on our knees, but not on the hands, and then we'll be on our front, and then we'll be on our back, broadly speaking. So let's begin. So finding your happy all fours position, tabletop position, which generally means shoulders over wrists and knees about hip distance apart. Now, one of the things that can happen is struggling with wrists and struggling with a real sense of engagement through the whole of the hand. So if we just rock side to side so that we're moving our palms across the floor. So we put weight on our little finger, then on a big finger, little finger, big finger, as we go from side to side. And see if that's okay for wrists. So I know some people struggle with wrists, so most people know the options for that is to give a shake out, to come onto knuckles, to roll up the blanket and have your heels raised. So heel of the hand, wrist area raised. So just see how that feels, and then pause, and then just rock each hand separately. So to start off, just use your right hand and feel that joint. So there's going to be movement across the wrist joint. See if that's okay. As you try and get a sense of the kind of the base of each of the fingers having some sort of connection, even in this wriggle, and then the other hand, the left hand, maybe doing that side to side movement. So it's more consciously moving across the wrist and sort of below the finger, each finger, and see how that feels. Hopefully not too strong. Okay, and hopefully you'll get a little bit more of a sense of a firm foundation through your whole of your hands and your fingers there. So I generally suggest fingers a little bit of space between each one if you can, so you get again that more of a span for support. Then we're just doing circle movements around the knees and around the wrists. So that means the weight will change through the wrists and obviously through the knee joint. I haven't got my toes tucked under, but if you prefer to have them tucked under, please do. Then we're going to go around in the opposite direction. So we're warming up a little bit. Wrists again, shoulders, and hips, and knee joints. Okay, and let's pause there. So tucking the toes under and just lifting the knees a short distance off the floor. So I know the weight then will go through the hands. Just notice what happens with the hands and what the change is in terms of connection, what's going on in your core here, and then you're going to come back down. Okay, maybe just create a fist and come back down, create a fist and come back down. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to bring one foot forward, so it's behind the opposite knee, if you see what I mean. It's not as high, not coming a long way forward, and see if you can cope, i.e. the knee can cope with this rocking movement forward and back. So at the moment, the toes are facing forward and the heel and the knee are in line as we rock forward and back. Forward and back. See if you can find your own rhythm, and then that's okay for hips, toes, ankles, and mainly knee. Okay, and then if you can, same leg, you're taking the knee out to the side, and the toes follow, yeah, so they're in line as you rock forward and back, so you're getting more of an external rotation. So also pay attention to the knees on the ground, hopefully that cope with the pressure and the movement as well. Just do smaller rocks if it's not working so well. And then pivoting round so the knee comes just across center. So if the toes come with you, it's not just a knee, it's on that alignment. So it's a rocking at your pace. Okay, and then relax for a moment. Again, just create a fist, and come back down. And see how your all fours position feels now. Now we've done one side, and whether you feel any sense of kind of awakeness, buzzing in the hip flexor area of the leg that we worked on. Okay, I'm tucking both toes under now. I'm bringing the other foot forward. So again, just behind the knee, opposite knee, sort of level. First, we start with the toes facing forward and we rock forward and back. And then we change that to pivoting the foot and the knee out to the side. And we rock forward and back. And then final position is we pivot round so the knee comes slightly across central line, bit of internal rotation as we rock forward and back. And then release. Again, create a fist with one hand, fist with the other hand. Okay, so we're going to give the wrists a bit more of a break now. And we're going to initially just let's lengthen through our hands. So our hands can be wide and shoulder distance just to get a little bit more space and length down the side body. And also if we open our fingers and stretch, we're also getting a little bit more space through our wrists there. Okay, and let the arms just come down and relax a little bit more here. Okay, so I'm going to take one foot forward, so you find your happiest way to do that. And again, I've untucked my back foot, but if you feel you need to have that tucked under, please do. I've taken my foot quite a long way forward, so I've got an opening through the back hip flexor. I'm going to keep both hands on that front thigh, and I'm going to be moving from a fairly deep lunge forward, but the knee is broadly still over, maybe slightly beyond the ankle. And then I'm going to come back towards straight. So some of you will find that really easy. I don't, so I'm kind of protecting my hamstring a little bit there in terms of the insertion in the tail, in the sitting bone. So if it's aggravated there, you do need to just hold off a bit. If it's just a little bit of a pull more down the central area of the hamstring, that's fine. If it's pulling the back of the knee, that's not fine either. So you just need to work with what's sensible for your body. But sometimes I feel like I need to move my foot because my knee and my hip are not well aligned. So just finding a happy point. Okay, so again, we're doing lots of kind of coming into positions and coming out of them. We're just kind of pulsing forward and back, rocking forward and back. So that we're just testing out and trying to find so we're not fighting our way through, sort of exploring a little bit more open release, lengthening options. Okay, so from here again, find your safest route out. You might need to put the hands to the floor to do that. Lengthen out for a moment. Maybe even looking up towards the sky, ceiling. And again, release the arms to release the shoulders. Just have a sense of how you feel in the side that you're working compared to the side. You might have a little bit of warmth in the hamstrings. You might feel a little bit of length in the front of the hip flexor. So second leg comes round. And to say you might need to realign that leg a little bit. And once you've found your safe position here, then you can go further forward, maybe into the hip flexor, maybe not. And then you can head towards straightening the leg forward. Your pace and your choice of how deeply you go into the hamstring, how deeply you go into the hip flexor. There's also kind of the psoas area gets a bit of a stretch. It's always a difficult area to kind of get a sense of, which links the bottom body with the top body. Go back to top of the hip. Okay, so we can come out of this. So again, take care, find your safest route to get back. And from here, we're going to come on to, I'm facing you, so I'm broadly in the center of the mat so that I can reach out with one foot. Again, you can always do that more carefully with the hands down. So what happens when I take my foot out to the side and I try and keep my hips broadly facing forward and hip, knee and ankle broadly in line is my little toe comes side of the foot lifts, yeah. So what I'm going to do, and I'm just inviting you to do, is to rock across the ankle so that you get the lower foot down, the little toe side down, and then release it. So there's a rocking across the ankle. If that feels, again, safe in the ankle, might crack a bit, but hopefully feels safe. So get that sense. Once you've got done that a little bit, hopefully you've warmed that up a little too, and you might be able to keep the little toe side down. Some of you won't have a problem with that, but some of us do. So see how you go with that. If you do need to have, I've got broadly the little toe side in line with the end of the mat, but some of you might need to have it on an angle just for comfort there. If we take our both arms up and lengthen, see how that is, see how it feels in the inner thigh and the adductor, and then we can sway a little bit towards that extended leg. And again, so we're not asking too much, but we are saying, okay, let's just see if we can get a little bit more into that adductor muscle. But again, if that feels like it's an area of strain and risk, then you minimize the movement or you bend the knee in the extended leg so there's not as much work going on there. Okay, and relax the arms out to shoulder level. And let the arms just relax in front of you. Release down and just side to side. Okay, so hands probably down. It's best bend that knee to release it safely. And let's find the opposite side. So it might be different on each side. For most of us, there might be a little bit of a struggle to get the hips anywhere close to straight, but you're working on that. If we take our arms up for a moment, that might help to get that extension up for a second. Keep the arms wide. Okay, and that's then we're concentrating on this outer foot. So if you can rock it so that you go from big toe to little toe side and get that, so you'll be getting a bit more opening down that whole inner line, right from the inner ankle up to top of the thigh. And you're going to do what you can do. Just to see if that works, that rockability over the ankle. And then if you can keep the little toe side down, that's great. If you need to angle the foot slightly differently, then that's understandable. Then we take the arms up and we try and lengthen. So we're going to need to lengthen a little bit more through this side. And then we're going to just see how we go as we lean in slightly to that extended leg with either knee bent or whatever you need to do to feel that the movement is actually helpful rather than pushing too far beyond your edge. which usually means you can breathe with ease, yeah, and that you're not starting to have a movement that's really tense and tight. So a lot of this rocking is to try and create this ease in movement rather than kind of forcing to your edge and holding and kind of just hanging in there isn't really ever really much use. Okay, and then arms at shoulder level, release the arms. Okay, and then let's get this leg back if you haven't done already, bending the knee, maybe taking hands to the floor to get both knees together. Again, extend up. So you feel both sides of your hips, hip flexors, inner thighs might not feel much. Now we're back into a safe place. Okay, so we're going to move into the world's greatest stretch. So most of you know what that is. So I'm coming back to all fours. I'm bringing one foot forward. Yeah, so I don't need to be coming quite so deeply into the hip flexor, really. And then taking both hands or fingertips to the ground on the inside of that front foot, so the big toe side. So both hands are on the inside of that foot. And then I've got my left foot forward, so I'm going to bend my left elbow. And I'm going to take that, you can see a little bit better, up and down that inner calf. And then at some point, I'm going to turn this into a more open movement into a twist by extending that arm through without moving that front leg. And then bring it back down. And a little bit more. So obviously, it's designed, again, this sort of more pulsating, rocking movement to not get you pushing too far, but get you maybe further than you would if you tried to just stay in one place and again extend. And we'll do one more pulsating movement, rocking movement, rhythmic movement within your range. But usually this gets beyond what you would normally do because you're going up and down a little bit. Okay, and then extend for the last time on this first side. Okay, so finding a safe way to come out of this. Extend both arms again up so you get a bit of length for the moment. Great, and opposite leg forward. See, obviously you can't see me unless I swap side. I think I'll stay this side. You know what you're doing now. So this hands inside, our fingertips inside that leg, so on big toe side, bending at the elbow. So doing the same thing. We're to rise and fall, elbow descending down the inside towards the ankle bone, without the knee drifting out too far. So obviously, if you need you know, if this foot needs to be out wider than it normally would, so you have got your foot probably more shoulder distance than hip distance, when it's kind of halfway between the two, and then extend up into your twist, and second time, and extend into your twist, and third time. I'm a bit more open on the side than the other side. And extend. Great. Okay, and then safely coming out of that. And again, you can come to broadly, you don't have to be in the center of your mat this time. We're not going to take the legs out to the side. What we're going to do is take our arms up to the side, lengthen away first, then take our arms up so they lengthen away, but the hands are much wider than the shoulders. We've got a little space for the shoulders. And then we're going to see how we are in this position, which is the cactus arms, hands up position. So elbows find a happy place so they're not too forced back. but neither are they coming too far in that rounds the upper back, but you need to do what's safe for your shoulder. Okay, so in this position, we're going to soft fist. We're going to take the chest more up towards the sky and looking up. And then we're going to round the back, bring the elbows in towards the belly. So we often used to do this standing. I've done it for a while. So you move between these two positions if you can. So you're opening, bringing the elbows down a little bit. If that works with the shoulders safely. And you bring the elbows together in towards the navel, chin to chest. And you're opening out. And you're floating back in. So your lower back gets a little bit of a break when the elbows come in. Don't want to overdo the opening through the top of the chest if all that happens is it creates issues for the lower back. So just keep within safe limits for the lower back. But this rounding should help be counter to that problem. Okay, and release the arms, shake out the arms and shoulders, just so they're not got into a locked position. Okay, so we're going to go down onto our bellies and we're going to come into Sphinx pose and then after a locust pose, which most of you broadly know what that means. So coming onto my elbows are they can be below the shoulders or slightly, yes, below the shoulders, but they could be wider than the shoulders if that feels more supportive. Again, if the hands don't feel good facing forward from the elbows, you could take the hands outside to the side. Whatever feels like it's going to give you the most support. So we've just done some opening through the chest to support a back bend movement. So hopefully it feels some length from the pubis all the way up to the sternum, all the way up through the front body. I think we did this last week, so it might give you a sense of how this feels. So if you're okay to just bend one knee, just paying attention that that's not being nasty in the lower back, and release, and the other side, and release. Take the feet wide now, somewhere as wide as the mat. And lower the chest down, but keep the chest off the ground. So you're just lowering a little way down, and then you're sweeping the arms behind you if you can. So they're raised, palms face each other. There's an energy going back and an uplift, and the head, you're looking down onto the ground. If you bring the belly in for support here, and you kind of do swimming legs, kicking legs, it's an option. You may not want to do that if the lower back just feels like it can't be supported enough in this position. Okay, well done. Hands back underneath, well, by the sides of the chest, because we're pushing ourselves up. We're going to push ourselves up. And if possible, I've got my knees hip distance apart. I've got my toes tucked under, and I'll see if I can take my bum back. Yeah. And then I'll come forward again, and I'll untuck my toes, and I'll see if I can take my bum back towards my hips. And I'll come forward, and I'll tuck the toes under, and just see. So compared to sometimes with this toe tuck under, we're only there for a second. So again, we're just asking the quads to lengthen and release a little bit, and we're asking the back of our calves, back of our ankles, base of our feet to enjoy length and have a brief stretch. But it doesn't, if knees are not right, you can't go too far back with this. Not everybody's comfortable with toes tucked under. Not everybody's happy with toes released. So work within the range you can. Okay, and then if you bring your bum up to just above your knees, your hips just above your knees. If you're happy to take your hands further forward now and lower the head down just a short distance. Push your bum back to try and get some length through your spine for a moment. And breathe here. Then just move, bringing the hands towards you again, all fours. Just see how it feels in all fours. This is where we started. Just do a couple of movements on my back to finish. So just seeing, so I feel strong in my arms and more connected through my front body. That might be your experience. So just taking that in for one moment. And then we're going to come over onto our back. Which might be nice. And you can have your feet on the floor, your knees bent, and just feel the ground. Okay, so I'm going to sweep the arms up, shoulder distance apart. I'm going to take the feet off the ground, high enough so the lower back gets to the ground, and then we do the side-to-side movements with arms in opposite direction to knees, counterweight, counterbalance. So you do need your feet fairly high in order to get the lower back towards the ground. And maybe some backs won't be able to do that, however high they get the feet, but that's what you're kind of looking at. And then rest the arms down, feet down, but as wide as the mat, and then just let the knees up to one side, back and over to the opposite side. And you can have your arms slightly away from the body or even at shoulder height if you want to. And you can look at the opposite, in the opposite direction to your knees. Your knees go one way and you roll over the back of your head and look at the direction, but only if that's really comfortable for the head. Sometimes it isn't. Okay. And then let's pause. Let's bring the arms closer towards the body, but relax. Let's bring the heels closer to the butt. And then we're just going to push down from the feet. Raise, as you can see, maybe you can't see that well. Raise yourself off the floor, back off the floor until you're onto your shoulder blades. And then we do this kind of relaxed version of bridge where we soften in the butt, in the belly, and in the inner thighs. And just have this kind of hammock position. And we roll the mid back and the lower back. And further yet. And ideally, once we've got the whole of the lower back down, we then just change it into a little bit of an arch for a moment as we take the weight forward on the pelvis. And then we rock back to where we were, base of the shoulder blades, and switch things off, thighs, butt, and belly. Releasing any tension in the hands and the neck and the jaw. We can, and then we roll back down. Again, coming to an arch, we'll do one more. So coming up, rolling up. Switching things off. This time we shoot down and bringing these in and do circles, one way and then the other way. If you liked what we did last week, which was coming to an inversion, you can rock up and take your hands to your bum, your pelvis for a moment and just do little runners, cycling legs, sorry. But only if the neck feels really comfortable, just an option. And whatever you're doing, you can either roll to finish or you can turn onto your side. Okay, so reset, week 2. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll be resetting again next week. Have a good week, whatever the weather. Okay, take care.